I went and saw Dark Knight with a bunch of friends,
Yes.
I made the suggestion that that seeing as Heath Ledger is dead, so we can't have Heath Ledger as the Joker again,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? George Burns can do movies again. But anyway, I made the suggestion that that what you could do is you could have different famous actors or different actors, because the Joker itself as a Batman villain is a very multifaceted character.
Mm.
You could have different actors representing different sides of that psyche and representing in different ways. But
So, okay, well, who then would you like to see playing the Joker? Being as you've thought this out so well and all.
I don't know. I'd quite like to see. First of all,
Can I make a suggestion?
yes, you can.
Sean Connery.
It's not a stupid thing to say, and you can have someone a bit more dignified like that. That would be brilliant.
Oh, I'm not thinking he'll do it dignified, and that'll.
So you don't necessarily need to lure Sean Connery out of retirement for this. You just need to reroute his.
You just need to send Sean Connery to a Halloween party.
Yeah, you could either send him. You could send him to a Halloween party, or you could reroute all his mail to the set's address. So he gets angry. He gets angry that he's missing out on his mail.
That's good. Yes.
So he walks down, and then on the way you put one of those buckets.
Yeah.
You know, those buckets above the door, so that when people go through the door, they fall down. That's full of white makeup. That's full of white paint.
And also, it's an old iron pail, so that it makes a comical.
And in his introductory scene, Sean Connery is the Joker. He bursts through the door with great fury, and his paint all over his face, and says, "Where are my fucking letters?" Like, and it's so jumbled up because he's got paint in his mouth that you don't really have to discern what he just said.
No.
No, and then you just have to bring in like a screeching in the sound mix, and slowly have that just filter out what he's actually saying. You don't have to hear the words that are coming out of his mouth, because they're just like, I've called the post office 4 times and I can't get hold of them, and now my mail's going here and I can't pay my bills, and I can't buy food because I can't pay my bills, and I've got creditors coming to my house, and you don't have to hear all that.
I think that you're limiting yourself by just rerouting his mail. I think that your strategy here, and it is a good one, suggests that basically you just want to play pranks on Sean Connery.
Yeah, play pranks to get him extremely riled up. Wind him up.
Because a riled Sean Connery would be a thing to
and then everyone will say, it was just so brilliant how they never actually showed what he was saying. You just had to look at his face.
It was all in his eyes.
I imagine. I can only imagine because I can't hear the words, but I imagine it's so well written.
Yeah, that.
First they rerouted my mail, and now I've got $1 billion. Now I've got 50 pizzas turning up to my house at 11 p.m. at night, and I'm like, what am I going to do? I can't eat all those bloody pizzas. Just leave me alone.
Who is borrowing library books on my card all the time?
I was borrowing library books, and I'm reading out porn movies. I don't even like watching porn. I got a wife. It's all right. I can go to it whenever I like. I don't want porn. I get all this porn just turning up, and not only, and then it doesn't get to me because they rerouted my mail, so I have to go somewhere else to pick up this porn that I didn't want. This is Danny's Animal Funhouse.
Danny's Animal Funhouse.
Yeah. In South America, female forward flies have developed a bizarre reproductive strategy. They hover over fire ants, then inject their eggs into the ants with a needle-like appendage. The egg then grows, and the resulting larva generally migrates to the ant's head. The larva lives there for weeks, slurping up the brain and turning the ant into a, quote, zombie. In some cases, compelling the ant to march 55 yards away from its colony to avoid attack by other fire ants. Finally, the baby fly decapitates its host and hatches, exiting through the ant's head. This is now being seen as a way to control fire ants, and this is spread across the southern US. Apparently, these species of forward flies, because people are using them to control fire ants, these forward flies are actually turning up in places they shouldn't be. These forward flies could be out rampant, turning whatever insect they like into zombies. I've been to a couple of parties that involved the drinking games.
What is the point of a drinking game? Can you tell me? Just don't play a game.
As I've said before, if and you know, I've said this time and time again, if you need to have a game to make drinking fun, then you're not drinking right. Okay, I'll give you one example here. I was going to a party. It was a party I really didn't want to be at, but it was a good friend of mine. But it was a kind of bunch of mixed up friends of his. Okay, so what happens is we're all sitting down and we're going to do a drinking game, right?
Sure.
And I've played drinking games before. I know the deal.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway.
It's a game with drinking. Deal.
Anyway, so what happens is we all sit down in a circle, ready to play this game. Someone gets a pack of cards. And then some dude goes, oh, wait a minute, guys. Steps up, walks to the kitchen.
Right.
Grabs a saucepan. And I'm not, you know, like, not one you might cook pasta for one in, but like a decent sized saucepan.
A decent sized pan.
Decent sized saucepan.
Like a big old Italian
mama
kind
you might
of
cook
pan.
Soup in.
Yeah.
Right? Decent sized saucepan, places it on the edge of the circle.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
is it a helmet?
Well, I'm thinking it might be. I'm thinking it might be some kind of, you put it on your head and go.
I hope so. That sounds like a fun drinking game.
Yeah, that would be a fun drinking game because you know, sounds would be involved and hitting would be involved.
Yeah. Or it'll be like you could sit in it. Like
like maybe you had to sit in it as a punishment.
Yeah, 3 wise men went to sea in a barrel, but this chump, he's riding in a saucepan.
Yeah, or you might have to if you get a question wrong.
Yeah.
You might, if you get a question right,
put something in it and run it around.
Let's say you get a question wrong and you let's say you get it right and you no, if you get it wrong, you have to take a vessel of your drink, right? Like a sip of your drink.
Drink your drink.
But if you get it right, then you get to put a bit of drink in the saucepan.
That's pointless.
No, but this is the kicker, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end of the game, the person with the most wrong answers has to put the saucepan of beer on their head
and become humiliated and soaked and wet.
And then everyone gets to go ding, and they're all wet. Now that's a good game.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that you could just like put a bunch of things in the saucepan and they have to run around the house, but yours is much better. Yeah, well, is that what they used it for?
No, they didn't. He puts down the saucepan and I'm like, what? And I naively, because I'm not with this whole game.
Because it's a break from your usual schedule of your book club that you're usually at.
My party's just ending crowded around Smash Brothers. But that's alright. So anyway, he puts down this little pot, and I'm like, "What's that for?"
What's that for, you son?
Bit of a Dumbo.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, that's a vomit pot." And I'm like, "Oh yeah." I'm thinking in my head, "This is exactly what I think it is." But needless to say, I inquire further. I'm like, "Oh, okay, so so when would that come about?" And he goes, "Oh, if the game gets a bit rough, you can just turn around, spit up a little, keep going."
Oh,
so I don't know, hey, let's go kill some witches. I think that lady down the road sees a witch.
Chris Cornell, you know him well.
I'm aware of his work.
Some other members of Soundgarden got up at this bar in Seattle called the Crocodile Bar, which I have not been to, but I've walked past. They were hanging out seeing another band. I can't remember what the band was. And they all happened to be together in the same place. The band leader, who was the band they were going to see, saw them in the front, sitting in this little table. Yes. And they said, "Hey guys, hey dudes, you want to get up and do some tunes?" So they got up, rocked out about 5 or 6 Soundgarden classics. Mm-hmm. Dirty little childish Chris Cornell puts out a statement. When we all left, I'm not going to do the accent. He says, when we all left Soundgarden, we signed a pact that none of us would ever play the songs again. And this is actually true, what all of them signed. A pact that none of us would play the songs together in a live venue or in a studio if it was not all the band members together at the same time.
Yes.
So the other band members are like, oh, come on, Chris. It's not that big a deal, really. I mean, we were just having a bit of fun. And Chris Cornell's a bit upset by this.
Yeah.
With the other bandmates.
I'm getting that he's upset.
There's some kind of betrayal going on. Okay, well, vodka's made in Russia.
Right? Yeah.
Okay.
Every single ounce of vodka in the world
Yep.
is made in Russia and then sent out to Russia.
What is
sent out
vodka?
from Russia. Well, it's in some dank parts of Russia.
We really should have explained what the Skinny with Danny is before we started.
The Skinny with Danny is where Danny tells us about something, and for the purposes of the conversation, we know nothing about it.
We pretend to
And
know
Danny
nothing.
is the only one in the room who knows anything about
Well, okay, Russia's I don't want to offend anyone from Russia.
it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
But it's a backward country.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a backward country. It's a dirty country.
Dirty cunt.
Some of them don't know about basic things like sanitation
Right.
and living like we do. You know?
Yeah.
It's all alien concepts to them. So in some of these darker towns, these danker places,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Vodka is the water supply.
Okay.
So vodka is a form of water,
Well, no, it's like water gone bad, gone real wrong.
like brackish water.
Yeah, like if it went beyond stagnant,
Yes.
it'd be water, right?
Okay.
And then some of the city folks
Yes.
in Russia, they went to their small batches in the small towns,
Yes.
and all the locals go, you can't drink the water here, you got to boil it
Don't
first.
drink
It
the
tastes
water.
real gross.
Yeah.
Don't drink the water. Yeah.
That
You're
didn't
good.
sound
Yeah, that
Russian.
didn't sound Russian.
Dracula.
Don't drink Drink the blood instead.
I'll work on that. But anyways, so I don't drink the water, and then they drink the water.
Because why would we listen to these backward folk?
Exactly.
Exactly.
They have a merry old time because the water tastes delicious, and it's winter, and it gives you a warm feeling in your belly.
Right.
And then they go, that's delicious. So they bottle up the water,
Yes.
and they decide that they can't just call it water
No.
because then
water is already
then when they
And
put
it's
it
boring.
yeah when they
Why
take it back
water?
to the city and they put it in the
What
fridges,
kind of idiot would
people
buy
are
this in a
going to
bottle?
differentiate it from like standard bottled water. So they decided to slightly mutate the English word water
Right.
and start it with a V,
Oh, yeah.
Vodka.
Water.
vodka,
Yeah.
and then as of time as they were playing not Chinese whispers because they're from Russia, Russian whispers.
Yeah.
Over time, vodka
Vodka.
became vodka.
My first introduction to the genre was Blair Witch. When I saw Blair Witch, I didn't think back then that it would sort of become a thing, like an actual established genre, like everyone would sort of do it again. I sort of thought it was a really good movie and a really scary movie, but I kind of thought of it as a one-off. I didn't know that it would kind of expand into what it's become now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought, oh, that's a really sort of clever take on horror. You know, that's well done. That's really good innovation. But then you don't get a lot of innovation in films which kind of creates its own genre. So that's what I thought was interesting about it, you know, in subsequent years since. Blair Witch 2 Book of Shadows should have even come out, but
Do you like the genre, Danny?
I do as a whole. I don't, I understand the reasons why it lends itself towards horror films, but I tend to think as a rule, because I'm more of a fan, I'm more from the school of sort of campy 80s horror, so I don't sort of like modern slash horror. So, because that's got such an association with found footage films, it means I don't sort of like it as much. But, I mean, I really like that. I mean, I find something scary about just watching anything shot on video, like home videos. I find that there's something sort of deep set terrifying about it. I don't know what it is, but anything where the camera shakes around a little and I don't get sick like most people, but I just sort of, you know, I do get sort of unsettled, and that's what I like about it.
Have I ever told the listeners about my advertising campaigns?
This could fill a show.
Well, it'll fill a small
No,
segment.
I don't believe that you have ever talked about your advertising campaigns, Danny.
Well, I'll try to remember them. There's an anti-smoking ad.
Yep.
Where there's these dudes and they're just
Yep.
at a party. And then they're at a party and there's some jovial music coming on. It's a good atmosphere. Everyone's having fun. And then this guy gets out a lighter
Yep.
And then bends down, like bends on his knees, and just lights a fire around his feet.
Yeah.
Like a roaring fire around his feet.
Blazing.
And that's going for like, it's only 10 seconds, but it seems like ages. And everyone's backing away and going, oh God, and like running away and backing away from this guy who's just looking pretty pleased with himself with a big roaring fire around his legs. And then the message comes on the screen. It says, "Smoking, it's socially awkward." Final thought. Recently, Jessica Simpson ran out from a performance of hers, a musical performance. She forgot words and she ran off the stage crying.
I heard about that.
This is the second time she's done it in 6 months. The time she did it earlier, she almost considered quitting her music career. Now she's done it again. Stop.